Good.
Good. All right. Thank you everybody for joining us here for the third installment of our virtual sort of sessions and clinics. And so today we're going to talk about my bike and why I chose my bike. And I think that we're going to extend this to a couple other people on the staff and talk about their bikes that they have and why they chose them and what they specifically like about them and why they chose them to ride around Roanoke and sort of what disciplines they're interested in and how they utilize their bikes for work and for pleasure and what they enjoy about them. So today we're going to be discussing the All-City Cosmic Stallion, which is this bike here. This is the new color scheme and new model for 2020. What I've got it set up as now is I'm going to call it the mullet in honor of Travis. We've got business up front, party in the back. This is definitely not how I ride this bike, but I brought it here today to look at this and show you guys kind of the versatility in this frame set. All-City, if you're unfamiliar with the brand, is based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. They're a U.S.-based company. Their bikes are produced overseas, just like the majority of other bike companies in the world right now. They are handmade. They're made in Taiwan, and it is a steel frame. So the first thing to talk about is this ACE badge right here on the bike. It's All-City's proprietary steel, and so it's a air-hardened, heat-treated, custom extruded. So that's the acronym there. And it keeps the frame super lightweight and really, really supple and fun to ride on. I mean, I think the All-City steel, in my standpoint, for my opinion, is very comfortable. If you've never ridden a steel bike, you sort of don't know what you're missing until you try it. Compared to aluminum and compared to carbon, steel is very forgiving. It's relatively lightweight, and it's a very, very fun bike to ride. Steel is definitely my frame material of choice. I've ridden aluminum, I've ridden carbon, I've ridden steel, I've ridden titanium, and the bikes that I keep at home right now are steel and titanium. It is going to be a little bit heavier than your other bikes. If you compared it to a carbon frame or to an aluminum frame, steel does weigh a little bit more, but it's not something that really, in my opinion, you need to worry about. You know, a lot of people sort of talk about weight weenies and whether or not they should be counting ounces and grams and pounds. If it comes down to it, you're doing more to sort of get a little bit into better shape and to drop weight on your own than to focus on the material of your bike if you're concerned about weight. The steel offers a much better ride quality, in my opinion, than something like an aluminum bike, but that's just my own 2 cents. To go into kind of the details of how I have this set up and sort of more of the fun stuff about All-City, they have the ability to run gravel and road tires on this guy. And so I've got a set of DT Swiss GR 1600 wheels up front here. This has got a Terravale Cannonball 700 by 42 tire. And you can see that there's actually enough room for even more clearance here, right? So you've got All-City quotes about up to 47, which is a super, super wide tire. I mean, that's definitely a balloon tire at that point. But you can run a nice, fast gravel tire on there, or you can go and switch over to road mode. And I've got a set of NV carbon wheels here with a Schwalbe 700 by 30, I think 30 or 32 tire for my road adventures. And so the ability for me to swap front and rear tires kind of at my own disposal, whether I want to go for a quick gravel ride, whether I want to go for a road ride, whether I want to just kind of tool around the alleys here in Roanoke, really is a valuable thing to have. And so having the frame clearance to be able to do both in one bike is very, very appealing to me, especially as a person who likes to ride sort of different segments around Roanoke. There is, just from the overall standpoint of the bike, is it a road bike? Is it a gravel bike? Well, it's not really either. It's kind of this hybrid. They call it an all-road. They call it an endurance road bike. And so the geometry is a little more relaxed than you would find on a typical road bike or cyclocross bike. And so you do have a little bit more of an upright riding position on this. I did go with a carbon handlebar and a little bit wider bars and just kind of raise them up a little bit and have my stem in the upright position. So I want to be able to kind of sit back and relax and enjoy my riding. I don't want to be super aggressive and super, trying to get real low and slam my stem. And that's not what it's about for me. It's more about enjoying my rides and being able to do multi-mile, long distance adventure rides on this bike. And I can do it either in road mode or in gravel mode and be comfortable doing it the whole way. Talking more about the components that I've chosen on this bike and to sort of get into that, I did build this up as a frame up build, so this is not how the bike comes stock. The way All-City sells this bike stock is they have a 1x SRAM 11-speed setup, and so it's I believe it's either a Rival or Force group set, but it's a hydraulic disc brake setup with I think a 40-tooth chainring and then an 11 to 42 in the back. So it's definitely set up in more of a gravel adventure mode if you buy the bike brand new. The benefit to building it up from a frame set is that you get choice and you get to pick, you know, whatever sort of options you want. So I have it set up with SRAM Force Axis 12-speed. So this is a 2x12 speed group set. The front chain rings, I believe, are, it's weird, SRAM changed everything. So this is a 46-33 up front and then a 10-33 in the back. And so I still can retain my 1-to-1 ratio for climbing, which is super important for gravel roads or our steep mountains that we have here in Roanoke. And that 10-tooth cog in the back here, paired with the 46-tooth up front, gives you a nice high end if you did want to get into more serious road riding. So while the range is a little bit odd, it is really accommodating for the riding that we do here in Roanoke. The wireless stuff is fantastic. If you've never ridden SRAM wireless or Shimano electronic shifting, it's really, really fast. It really makes your shift transitions accurate and consistent every single time. And so to be able to have that ability to be able to shift your gears when you're riding and not worry, oh, is my cable tension correct? Am I going to skip a gear? Is it going to slip? Am I going to be annoyed? All that stuff goes out the window with this new electronic shifting. And so it really makes it a very, very quick, very accurate way to shift. And it's really, really no maintenance, there's no sort of worry about it. The only thing you have to do is charge your batteries, which is convenient with the SRAM setup, because you actually have two different batteries. You have a front battery and a rear battery. And so, for example, if we were out on the trail and one of my batteries dies, I can swap the batteries between the two of them. And so if my front derailleur dies, I can move my rear derailleur battery to it and still retain my shifting up front, or vice versa. Batteries last a very long time. I mean, I charge them maybe once every 2 months. So the battery life's really great. It's a pretty lightweight setup. I mean, it does add some weight if you were to compare it to a cabled drivetrain with the battery and with the motor mechanisms in there. So it's not the lightest group set on the earth. But the reliability and the consistency of the shifting, to me, is really important. That also coupled with the fact that there's no cables to run. And so the fact that you don't have to move any cables makes it really easy to move your drivetrain between frames. And so if I were to buy a new frame, just pop everything off and put it on the new bike and boom, I'm done. There's no batteries to hide, there's no wires to run, there's no blip boxes to install. There are batteries in the shifters up here, so you do have to maintain those and or replace those when they die. But I've had this group set, for I forget how many months, 6 months maybe, and there's no indication that those are dying yet. So you get a lot of life out of these batteries up here too. It is a hydraulic disc brake setup, which for me offers the most reliability and the most sort of consistency in braking. I do like hydraulic disc brakes. I think that you get a lot of great all-weather performance out of them. They're very low maintenance. You do have to bleed them or get Downshift to bleed them for you every so often. So there is a slightly higher sort of maintenance interval compared to a cable actuated brake. But if you've ridden cable actuated versus hydraulic, the sort of increased stopping power and more beneficial sort of brake feel that you get out of it. And so to me, it's a worthwhile upgrade. I did add a Chris King headset to this custom build, which to me is more of an aesthetic thing than anything else. I mean, Cane Creek and Chris King both make really high quality products. Chris King just adds a little bit of flair to it. It's very, very classic bike style to add a King headset to your bike. So it's just more of a fun amenity. I do have some oil slick components on here. I've got some Supercaz bar ends and some Supercaz valve covers, as well as some Supercaz oil slick bottle cages, and everybody's getting in on this. Ergon makes a saddle with oil slick rails, which is pretty fun. So there's just some cool things you can accessorize when you do a custom bike to make it your own. And all in all, I've done a few trips on this thing. I ride to work on it most days. I did a big gravel ride in Gretna with it. I can't say enough great things about the quality of All-City steel and how comfortable it is to ride. Like I said, if you've never ridden a steel bike, come in, you can test ride this one. We've got a bunch of steel bikes on the floor. Now that we carry Norco also has a full line of steel bikes as well, gravel and road. The entire All-City lineup is steel. So I would highly encourage you guys, if you're interested in either a gravel bike or a road bike or an all-road bike, something like this, to come in and chat with us about what makes steel such a great frame material to use and to ride on. Yeah, come in and demo something, give it a test ride, look through our catalogs, we can chat about options. If anybody wants to ever do a frame-up build. We've done several of these for customers in the past, with Soma, with All-City, a lot of them being steel bikes, and a lot of them being gravel bikes. And we're more than happy to work with you guys to basically build your custom dream bike. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't, just because it's custom doesn't mean it's going to be 10 times more than a bike off the, the sales floor. We like to work with you within your budget, pick things that you're more likely to spend a little bit more money on, and save on some things that you may not have any sort of need for. A great example of that is seat posts, stem, handlebars. You might be able to save a bunch of money on that kind of stuff, and then invest a little bit more money into your wheel set or your drivetrain. So yeah, chat with myself or Kelsey about options. Come and look at all the great new All-City bikes we have. I think we have 3 on the floor right now, as well as a couple new bikes from Surly. And we're happy to answer any questions or build you your dream bike for 2020. So thanks everybody for joining, and look for our next series. Kelsey, do you know when our next live video is?
No. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for our next announcement. But we will be doing more of these, specifically talking about e-bikes and some other bikes. And so we're happy that you guys are sticking with us through this virus stuff, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.